Guys, welcome back to It's All Light. It's been a month and I'm so excited to jump back in. I'm Natalie Baugh and you're listening to It's All Light. And today's guest is Lindsey Hargett.
Hi.
You guys, Lindsey and I go way back to Chicago 2022. Was it only like 2 years ago?
No, it was last
Oh
year.
no, it was just last
A
year.
year ago.
It feels
But we
like
go
I've
way back still.
it feels like I've known Lindsey for way longer though.
It
But
does.
yeah, she is one of the partners that works with the company I work for, Redmond Real Salt. And we met on a trip to a conference in Chicago and had the best time eating good food and telling people about Redmond products. And yeah, we just became fast friends. And
Yeah.
that's kind of what we're going to talk a little bit about today. But yeah, first, tell us a little bit about yourself.
Ooh, okay. So I always say I'm a crazy dog lady and a crazy plant lady. I love my dogs, and I just have two big fluffy Muppets that may join, who knows? They always love when I'm on
They're so
camera.
cute.
I have plants everywhere in my house. They're kind of my favorite thing, and I've ventured to outdoor plants as well, and plants just bring me joy. I have been married to, I say my high school sweetheart, but we met in junior high. I was in ninth grade and he was in
Wow.
eighth grade. So it's been almost 18 years since we met, and we've been married for 11 years. So he's just my best friend,
I
and
love
it's just
that.
fun. So, yeah.
And so, what are your dogs' names again?
I have Elsa and Yeti.
And what kind of dogs are they again?
It's an interesting breed. It's called Bouvier de Flanders, and they're just picture like a kind of like a big
They're so
doodle, but
cute.
more like Muppets, and I love them.
Are they Finnish? Isn't that what you told me once? Are they Finnish dogs or no?
Belgian. They're a Belgian
Belgian
dog.
dog.
Yeah,
Oh, that's so cool.
they're
I
cute.
love that. And so, yeah, I love getting to work with Lindsey because just her passions in life. Like, I'm so excited to have you on this podcast because in all these areas that you love, it shines through you. And people, like, you walk into your house and it's all these beautiful plants, and your dogs are the cutest, and you post about them, and like, you are true to what you say you are and love. And I just find that so, I don't know, it's like warm and it helps other people recognize that they can have that in their lives too. So,
Yeah.
let's go into depth a little bit more about what you light up about. And we could start with cooking or family.
Let's do. I mean, we can talk about cooking. I try not to make it like my whole personality. That's kind
Mhm.
of been like my goal, because
Right.
my hobby of cooking became my job after going to culinary school, and then I
Right.
became a private chef, and that I very much like went headfirst into like this is my everything, and it definitely still is. Like I'll finish a cooking class or something, and I'll be so fulfilled, and I'll tell my husband, I'm like, this is my calling, or this is like my legacy that I'm leaving, and I'm so, it's everything. But finding interests outside of that has like obviously made my life more well-rounded, but it makes everything a little easier. Like it
Mhm.
makes my work less all-consuming, and then I don't know, but I do really love, like I say all the time, that like food is joy and food is love, and I love, I mean, that's obviously how we connected, was through food, and like it's just the perfect way to like, show love to somebody, or make friends with somebody, or show that you're
Yeah.
thinking of someone, or like I even like to carry dog treats in my pocket when I go to neighbors, because I want
I
the
love
dogs to
that.
also know I'm a treat lady.
That's so awesome. And like it's so true. Lindsay had an awesome little birthday favorite things party, and everyone went around and said how they knew Lindsay, and it was amazing. Like almost everyone somehow through food, or she just showed up at my door with a plate of food or a treat for my dog, and we just became friends. Like
Mhm.
you do that so well. Do you feel like what's helped you get there?
I think like obviously doing it professionally helped give me a little bit, like I felt like I had a little bit of clout. So like when I wanted to give away extra treats from a cooking class or something, like if I had made something and I had like
Mm,
way too much of it and I didn't want it to go bad, if I posted on like the neighborhood Facebook group and I was like, hey, I have a lot of cinnamon rolls, it gave me a little bit of like, I was like, I'm a private chef and I'm like licensed, and like
mm-hmm.
people pay me for this, so like they're safe to eat. I feel like that gave me a little bit of like confidence that way, like, okay, I'm certified, I can give people food. But like
That's awesome.
I don't know. I think just being true to what makes you happy, like you were kind of saying earlier, like you can see that, which is my intent. Like, you know that I love food, And
Mm-hmm.
so
Yeah.
if you are wholehearted about that and like, I love this thing, whatever it may be, and you want to share that with others, they pick up on that. And it's bigger than just, oh, somebody brought me a cupcake. It's like, oh, this is from Lindsay's favorite cupcake place and she thought of me, or you know what I mean? So like when
Yeah.
you put your passions into something like wholeheartedly, people respond to that.
Hmm.
So
I like that. So, like, to go to your neighbors or to go meet new people, like, I know you recently moved and you wanted to be friends with your community. Like, do you ever get scared to like go show up at a stranger's house and to become friends? Like, how did you overcome that if you did?
in the beginning it was really scary. And honestly, I went through, this is like a whole thing. I went through like I don't know, like a friend crisis, I guess. Like I had a couple friends, but I really just wanted like community, and I wanted people that I could like text about things or send reels to on Instagram or Marco Polo them about my dogs and see theirs or whatever. Like I just
Yeah.
wanted like real friendships, and I struggled with that for a long time. And I when I moved, I kind of used it as a like, if you think about if you ever moved schools when you were younger and you're like, I can be a whole new person, like I can be whatever I want to be. Like it kind of was like that for me. And I did move from a very different demographic as well. And so this neighborhood felt more like at the stage that I was in life. So I was like, okay, I'm ready.
Mm-hmm.
Like I
Yeah.
can be who I want to be here and it fits everybody else.
Hmm.
And so it was kind of nerve-wracking at first, but like I said, if you just like sometimes I remind myself like before a class or before something like that that's kind of scary, I'm like, I know what I'm doing. I have to like I tell myself that out loud. I'm like, I
Yeah.
know what I'm doing. Just be who just be yourself.
Be
I'm like my own
Lindsay.
mom in my head, like be yourself. People will love
I
you,
love that.
fine. And you do that enough times and it just becomes natural. And so it is
Yeah.
less scary if you just keep doing it. You know what I
I
mean?
love that.
So like it's scary for sure, but it's not complicated, if that makes sense.
I like that. I like how you tied in just like that confidence piece, but also just like from what you said earlier, when you're doing those things in your life that bring you joy and bring you like like your passions are being lived, then when you're in those moments, you can just tap in and be like, "No, I got this. Like this is me, a part of me."
Yeah.
And I
Yeah,
love
you just draw and you're like, look at this thing, I'm so excited. And people pick up on that. And if they don't respond properly to that, you don't want to be friends with them. So it's fine.
That's true.
So
There
you have to find people that are like, oh, that's so cute of you. I'm so excited. The people that are like, she's a crazy person. I really don't want to be friends with them anyway. So it's okay.
Yeah, we're naturally drawn to like certain people anyways. And then it's
Yeah.
cool how you can still cultivate those relationships. So, besides bringing together people with food and just thinking of others, what else helps you cultivate those relationships and friendships?
I don't know. Food has been my like cheat code, honestly, because it works. Like if you tell people, like if you're kind of talking to somebody and you want to get together or like you want to develop a relationship more, I mean, I haven't found anybody that is ever like, if I ever am like, if you want to go get a treat sometime, let me know. Or like if you want to go try a fun new restaurant, or if you want to go to this fun food store or whatever,
Or
like
even come over and make food, right? You do that
yeah,
with
yeah,
me all the
exactly.
time too. I'm like, "Yes."
I know, it's so much fun. So like, and obviously like that is like I said, it's kind of my cheat code, but like food is such a big part of my life.
Mhm.
And
Yeah.
so like that may be different for everybody. Like you like to hike and get out and do stuff like that. And so if you are looking for friends, find people that also like to hike,
Mhm. Yeah.
and connect with them in that way. So you have to, like I said, if you're just like unapologetically excited about your passions, you obviously want friends that will go and do the same things with you. And so if you are just like excited about those and use that thing like, hey, I'm gonna go for a hike. I go to this place every week. If you want to come with me and be like consistent about it, not
Yeah.
naggy, but just like, hey, always an
I'll be
open
here
invitation.
if you want to be
Yeah,
here.
Yeah.
I like that.
So just whatever it is that you're like passionate about, use that to find friends. You know what I mean? Because
Mhm.
you want friends that have similar interests. So
Totally. Totally. And it's nice to just know that you've like to build your own support circle and know who you can go to sometimes for certain things, right?
yeah.
And I like to think, well, I'm just now starting to think about how can I be like that type of friend I would want to go to. It's like, oh, I want to be known as like a good listener because that's typically not me, but I'm like, okay, if I start to do things here and there, maybe people will be like, oh, she's a good listener. I can call her when I'm in trouble or need help or, you know.
Yeah,
So,
and that actually brings up another. So I was saying that food does everything, but like I realized a few years ago, I was like, I need to be the type of friend that I want to have because, like you were saying, like
yeah.
you want people to know you as a good listener. Like I want people to know me as somebody that they can rely on and somebody that they can turn to in a pinch and somebody that they can, that will always go and get a treat with them or just different things. And so I thought of like like you were saying, like the traits that you want people to know you by. I thought of that for me, and also like because like I said a few years ago, I was really craving friendships,
Yeah.
and I was like, okay, I need to be like that, and it kind of made me look inward, like I kind of suck at some of those things. Like, I'm not being there for my friends. I'm just sitting in this bubble, like why isn't anybody taking me out on adventures?
Yeah.
I'm not doing that, and so if you become that for your friends, then yeah, they'll see you as like, oh, Natalie's a really good listener, so I know I can talk to her. And like you get better at that. And then you have more friends because people know
Yeah.
you're like that. So
Yeah, I think we're not alone in feeling that. Like, I think everyone is always like, "Oh, why didn't someone leave a note on my car
nobody
or
thinks
drop
about
off
me.
cookies?"
Yeah.
Like we always want someone to be thinking of us, you know? I think
Yeah.
that's why it's hard to move on from like your ex is because, oh, then they won't think of me. And or I don't
Yeah.
know, just silly
No, I
things
think
like
that's
that.
so true. I think that like I think sometimes we look at other people, social media is a big, it hurts a lot because you're like, oh, look at them out with their friends or they're on a trip or
Mhm.
this, that, the other. They have
Mhm. Oh
and
yeah.
I used to get in my head about like they don't they don't want to be friends with me. They have their own friends. Or like they have their
Yeah.
high school or their childhood best friends, so they don't need me.
Or it's I wasn't invited or included. Yeah.
Yeah, exactly. So like, oh, clearly they don't want me. But like anybody like everybody needs more friends and we
Mhm.
all bring something different. Like I have different friends that are fill my cup in this way and that fit my needs in this way but maybe not this way, and that's okay. Like I like having a well-rounded variety of friends. Like I know I can go to this person for this and this person for this, and I'm good at supporting this friend differently than this friend in that way and stuff like that. And so sure, maybe you won't go and like dethrone somebody's childhood bestie, but like if that's your goal, maybe you need to check yourself.
Yeah. I mean, yeah, your motive, like it starts off with like, oh yeah, I want people to be a friend to me, so okay, how can I be a friend to other people? But then
Yeah.
it goes to like, okay, your motive. Like, no, I want to be someone's friend because I know they need a friend versus I need friends. And then it
Yeah,
just is
I
kind
want
of
them to
that
be
like
my friend. Yeah.
that's like with service too. It's like you benefit from serving others, yet like sometimes you do it because you need to feel
Yeah,
better about yourself.
feel good.
But yeah, man, I this is a topic that I have definitely been thinking about, so I'm so glad we get to talk about it today. I feel like my podcast usually lines up with my personal life. I'm like,
With
"Oh,
what
I
you
didn't know I
need.
needed this." So,
I love
I yeah, it's fun and like maybe we'll brainstorm a list of like things like obviously food, like go take someone a treat and invite someone over to make a meal. Like those start to open little doors of what kind of friends you can have and how you can support others. And I don't know, I
yeah.
think what's your thoughts on like vulnerability in friendships? I feel like that's like once you've opened that door, then like there needs to be some type of deeper connection, right?
Yeah. I think that was the biggest thing. Like one of the things I realized in my early days of like really craving friendships was like I okay, I'm gonna give a funny comparison. So I used to I used to stream cooking on Twitch, which is like
Oh yeah.
it's like a gaming platform, but people do other things. It's just live video. It's like an Instagram live. And I would stream on Twitch and have so much fun with this like random audience. And then I always would get kind of like grouchy about like, why isn't Instagram like that? And like, I don't like Instagram people. Twitch people are so much nicer. But I realized, And maybe there's some truth to that. Maybe we're a little more stuck up on Instagram. But I realized I was being so vulnerable and so myself on Twitch, and a little more not fabricated, but a little more like proper on Instagram. And I get way more engagement and like caring messages from people when I post something vulnerable. Like if I post when like my dog hurt his back a couple of months ago and people were so kind and supportive. And like it just, yeah, when I post about like just whatever it is that is like true to my heart, it's like people are more responsive. And it's hard to be vulnerable, and I don't think you should start by like, you know, go hanging out with somebody and like unloading all of your life's problems at once, because that's terrifying. But just like being willing to like admit to your flaws. And like I have a friend that she would, maybe she still does, but would apologize like if she hadn't gotten ready for the day or if her house was dirty. And I was like, you, and I always tell her, I'm like, you never have to apologize to me for that. Like I can relate, I get it. And so I think being vulnerable gives other people permission to be vulnerable back. And I've learned that in my marriage as well. Like when one of us has like hard feelings or is having a hard time, if we try and like suck it up and put on a hard or like a tough face so that the other person doesn't get stressed by your stress, it doesn't work like that. Like them, a close person, friendship, or you know, like intimate relationship, being vulnerable gives you permission to do that, and it just builds on each other. If they are, then you can be, then they can be, then you can be.
And that just builds that support and knowing you can turn to someone in need. Yeah.
Absolutely.
Wow. My mind goes to just in relationships, like the company I work for facilitates different trips or retreats so you can get to know the company and your coworkers, and the people that I've like taken time to just be friends with outside of work or like into personal lives. Like when I have a work pickle, then I'm like, oh, I know this person, I can reach out to them about anything, and it just like changes the whole dynamic. But like totally for intimate relationships too, like there's just different like barriers you have to kind of knock down and like get past certain stages. But then when you can just like unapologetically be yourself, or like there's no judgment, there's no like they will be there for you, like that just feels like so good. And like I think usually from our parents and siblings we have that, and then we just try to learn how to recreate that. But yeah, it definitely takes work. Like as I'm sitting here, I'm like, okay, there's work I need to do in these areas. Yeah. Man, I love this. You mentioned your husband. What does he light up about?
Ooh, let's see. What does he light up about? He is just kind of good at everything and like willing to try anything. So like somebody wants to go play pickleball, he'll go try pickleball, and then he loves it and wants to do that all the time. Or his coworkers started like an after work soccer team, like they were in like a co-ed soccer league, and like he played soccer a little bit as a kid but was like, yeah, that sounds fun, I'll go do that. So like he's just always game for anything. And it's a little obnoxious because he's always good at anything right away. I'm like, like obviously I think it's great that he's good at everything, but I'm like, I'm not good at everything. But but it's so fun to just like see him try like all these new things, and he'll get really invested in and stay invested in. It's not like he like hops through things. Like he restored an old Porsche. He bought it when we got engaged, and he finished restoring it a few years ago.
So
and
cool.
It's fun to like drive that around, and like we get into car stuff together. And so like he also always wants me to join in on his things, and I'm like a very simple person, so I'm like, I don't need, like I keep telling him, I'm like, I'm not playing pickleball with you. But so it is fun like having those things together. But I just love seeing him like get excited about like truly anything and everything. Like he loves playing with the dogs with me, and so it's fun like having our things together, but also seeing him just like trying lots of new things and like loving all of them.
I love that. Speaking of lots of things, another point I want to hurry and focus on to wrap up today's episode. You mentioned just like doing the little things that bring you joy. And you talk about growing your business, being successful. but also your like daily things. Like, I know you have your tea. You're like the best like tea from like, yeah, seriously. And like it's curated and like it's you, and you've like taken the steps to make it personal. And then you told me you have like a new flower garden that you can cut and have fresh flowers, and snuggling with your dogs. Like, what helps you put energy into these small things or discover them?
I think kind of like taking a step back from the big things, because I think like
Mm.
in life everybody is like, you have to be like go go go, and especially like as a woman in 2024, it's like you have to hustle. And I worked for a lady once who was like, I'll sleep when I'm dead, and I'm like, no no no, sleep
Sleep
brings me
now.
so much joy. And so I think like literally stepping off the like crazy life treadmill and being like, okay, I'm not doing any of the crazy busy. And it literally, like, especially for me, is like stopping to smell the roses,
Mm.
because those little things that kind of give you perspective and not make like your job or like one hobby that you have your whole personality.
Yeah.
You're like, oh, these things are the big things. And I know that that sounds like such a, like, I don't know, something your grandma would say, but like, I'm kind of grateful that I'm learning it now,
Yeah.
because like every morning I make my tea and I go outside with my dogs and I let them run around and wrestle, and I like check on each one of my flowers, and
I
like
love that.
that starts my day so happy, like so good. And like some days I'll sit outside in the afternoon or the evening at the end of the day and just like, my dogs are playing outside and I have my little flower garden, and I've been doing that lately, and my brain is just like, this is everything. Like
Mm-hmm.
my business growing is great, and like all the different things I'm doing there are great, but like having a friend, like I said, just having friends to like send like funny book reels to, or
Mm-hmm.
like cat memes or anything, and then like sitting outside and just like having, I don't know, it sounds really cliche, but like those small things,
Yeah.
everything. And it's made my job so much better and my relationships better, just because I can focus on like the small stuff, which I know sounds so cliche, but like maybe instead of when we hear that, like focus on the small things, maybe like sit with it and be like, okay, what are the small things for me?
Mm-hmm. Yeah.
Because
Like,
they're different for everybody, but they're there, and
yeah.
usually free. So,
And I think those stem from your core values. Like, I think of that analogy of like the big rocks and the small rocks, and you have to fill it in before you add, otherwise you won't fit everything you need to do.
yeah,
But I'm like, one of those big values is just taking care of yourself and your mental state. And then that can allow all the other rocks to like fit.
yeah,
So I think all the small things is a big rock, like
yeah,
they
totally.
compile it. Oh, I love that. You said others should know about this, just reiterating what you just said. Just like if you're not enjoying your day-to-day life in hope that like the future will be better, then like what's the point? And
Yeah, who cares?
it's more about the process. Like in everything you do, it's all about the process of getting there. Were those your doggies?
Yes, I think my Vivint guy is here.
Oh, your Vivint guy is here. Well, let's take that as our wrap up. The quote you shared was, "If it costs your peace, it's too expensive." So we'll end with that thought. Just keep your peace, do the small things, build friendships, eat good food. And this is Lindsay Target, you guys. Have a great day, everyone. See you later. Bye. See you, Linz.
Sorry to have
You're
my
good.